Most kids heard music, but Arlo? He heard emotions. Happy sounded like laughter on a breeze, and sadness, like a violin crying in the rain. But one day, Arlo heard a feeling no human was supposed to hear. Arlo was no ordinary boy. He looked like everyone else: messy brown hair, quiet green eyes, and scuffed up sneakers that squeaked with every step. But inside his head, something magical stirred. While other kids listened to music, voices, or the hum of the world, Arlo heard something more. He heard feelings, not in the way people talked about them, not like "I feel sad" or "I'm excited." Arlo literally heard them. Happiness? It sounded like bubbles popping in warm sunlight. Fear? Like dry leaves crunching under invisible footsteps. Anger? It was the crackling hiss of a fire just before it bursts. And love? Oh, that was his favorite. It sounded like a hummingbird's wings brushing flower petals. He discovered his strange gift at 5 years old, when he heard his mother humming a lullaby, but no sound came from her lips. The soft notes whispered in his ears were warm and golden like honey. "What are you humming?" he asked. "I wasn't," she said, confused, "but I was thinking about how much I love you." From that moment, Arlo knew he wasn't like the others. At school, Arlo didn't have many friends. Not because he didn't want them, but because hearing their feelings made everything too loud. On the playground, he heard one kid's anxiety echo like dripping water in a cave. Another's jealousy buzzed like angry bees. Even the teacher's silent frustration groaned like bending wood. So, Arlo kept his distance. He wore big headphones not to listen to music, but to block the world out. No one knew his secret, not even his mom. It was just easier that way, until the new girl arrived. Her name was Mira. She had wild red curls, socks that never matched, and eyes the color of fog. The first day she sat next to Arlo, he braced himself for the wave of noise that came with being near someone. But when Mira looked at him, he heard nothing. No sound, no joy, no pain, no hum, just silence. It scared him. "Hi," she said cheerfully, biting her lip. "Hi," Arlo replied cautiously. "Are you okay?" She tilted her head. "You mean right now?" Arlo nodded. "I'm fine." "Why?" He didn't answer. But all through the day, he kept glancing at her. Why couldn't he hear her feelings? That night, Arlo sat on his bedroom floor with his flashlight and notebook, the Tractodon, one where he wrote down every sound feeling he'd ever heard. But next to Mira, he wrote a single word: silent. Days passed. Mira was always smiling, always kind. But Arlo started noticing something strange. When kids around her were upset, they calmed down just by talking to her. When someone cried, Mira didn't speak, she just looked at them, and the sadness quieted. One rainy afternoon, Arlo finally asked, "Why can't I hear you?" Mira blinked. "Hear me?" "I hear feelings," he said quietly, instantly regretting it. "Emotions, sounds no one else hears, but with you there's nothing." Mira looked at him, really looked. "I know," she whispered. "That's because I don't keep my feelings inside me." "What?" "I give them away," she said. "I absorb other people's emotions. That's my gift." Arlo's jaw dropped. "You're like me?" "Kind of, but I don't hear feelings, I carry them. Sometimes it's heavy, and sometimes I lose my own in the mess. That's why you can't hear me. I've forgotten what my own feelings sound like." Arlo felt a chill. He imagined all the sadness, anger, and fear she must carry around. The silence inside her wasn't peace, it was emptiness. "Doesn't it hurt?" he asked. Mira nodded. But it helps others, so I do it anyway. Arlo's headphones suddenly felt useless. They sat in silence, both listening to the things no one else could hear. After school, Arlo had an idea. He invited Mira to his room, handed her his pies, notebook, and picked up his old keyboard. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Close your eyes," he said. She obeyed. Then, Arlo started playing. One note at a time, he recreated the sounds of feelings he'd heard, the joyful trill of laughter, the gentle hum of kindness, the soft crack of hope returning after despair. One by one, he played them all. And as he played, Mira began to cry, not from sadness but from recognition. "This," she whispered, "this is what I used to feel like." Arlo smiled. "Then let's bring them back." Every afternoon after that, Arlo and Mira met in his room. He'd play her feelings, she'd describe how they felt. He even started hearing soft melodies inside her, again timid, like baby birds learning to fly. Together, they created a symphony of emotions. And slowly, Mira's silence faded. At school, Arlo didn't hide anymore. Kids started noticing how calm they felt around him. Some said being near Arlo was like standing in sunlight after a storm. And Mira? She started painting again. Her art looked like the sounds Arlo heard, swirls of glowing light and dark shadows, dancing in harmony. They became known as the Feelers, two kids with invisible gifts, helping others feel heard in a world that often didn't listen. But Arlo knew the truth. He wasn't special because he could hear feelings. He was special because he chose to understand them. And sometimes, the greatest gift is simply listening to someone else's silence. End of story.